Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a problem that's, well, it's literally out of sight. And for a lot of us, it's out of mind, right up until it's a total disaster. Yep, we're talking about that hidden world of pipes under our feet, and a piece of technology that's completely changing how we find what's broken.
I mean, just think about it for a second. You've got that nagging issue, right? A blockage, maybe a leak, and it's hidden somewhere deep beneath your feet. The traditional approach? Oh man, it's messy, it's super expensive, and honestly, it's a total guessing game. But what if you could just trade all that chaos for pinpoint accuracy? Okay, so let's really dive into this. To appreciate just how cool the solution is, we first have to get a feel for why this underground enigma has been such a massive headache for so long. We've probably all had that moment of dread. A drain that just won't clear, a water bill that's suddenly way too high. For homeowners, it's an absolute nightmare. But for professionals, it's this costly puzzle that can bring an entire project to a grinding halt. The clock is ticking, the costs are just climbing, and you're still just guessing where the problem actually is.
So you're really looking at two completely different worlds here. On one side, you have the old way, right? It's basically a gamble. It's all guesswork. And that leads to wasted time, wasted money, and a totally torn-up yard or property. But then, on the other side, you've got the modern approach. It's data-driven, it's precise, and it's so much less invasive. Honestly, it's the difference between using a sledgehammer and a scalpel.
So how do we make that jump, from the sledgehammer to the scalpel? Well, the very first step is to get a clear view of what's actually happening down there. Okay, so the first piece of this puzzle is a seriously high-tech endoscope. I want you to imagine a tiny, super rugged camera on a flexible cable, and it's venturing deep into this labyrinth of pipes. It becomes your eyes underground, sending back a live, crystal-clear feed. And just like that, the mystery is gone. You can see the problem in perfect detail. A nasty crack, a stubborn blockage, or even a whole network of tree roots that have invaded the line. No more guessing.
But, seeing the problem, that's just step one. It's huge, don't get me wrong. You know what the issue is, but you still don't know exactly where it is from the surface. And this is where the technology takes a massive leap forward. We're going from just diagnosis to pinpoint location. 512 Hertz. Now, this number, it probably doesn't mean much to you right now, but trust me, it's the key that unlocks this entire system. It is the secret ingredient that transforms this thing from a simple camera into an incredibly powerful locating tool. So this is the 512 Hertz sonde. The easiest way to think of it is like a tiny, powerful little transmitter that's built right into the camera head. So as the camera snakes through the pipe and stops right at the problem, the sonde starts sending out this constant, very specific 512 Hertz radio signal. It's basically a homing beacon that's shouting from underground, hey, the problem is right here. And suddenly, the whole process becomes incredibly straightforward. It's just a few steps. First, use the camera to see the blockage or the crack. Once you've found it, you just activate the 512 Hz signal. Then, you walk the area above ground with a handheld receiver to detect that signal. And finally, you mark the spot. That's it. That's exactly where you need to work. Simple as that. And just like that, the biggest variable in the whole equation is just gone. The guesswork, the wasted effort, all that unnecessary destruction, it's all a thing of the past. This is literally the end of blind digging. So let's start connecting the dots here. What does this massive shift from guessing to knowing actually mean for the people on the job? Well, the impact is huge. Okay, so look at how each feature translates directly into a real-world advantage. That high-res camera, it doesn't just give you a picture. It lets you perform surgical repairs. And that 512 Hertz locator, it doesn't just find a spot, it can literally save thousands of dollars in labor and prevent tearing up a whole landscape. And the fact that it's built tough, that means this isn't some delicate piece of lab equipment. It's a tool that can handle the toughest jobs day in and day out. So, who actually benefits from this? Well, the list is probably longer than you might think. I mean, it's a total game changer for plumbers and contractors, absolutely, but it's also a vital tool for industrial maintenance teams, for city inspectors who are managing miles and miles of sewer lines, and yeah, even for regular homeowners who just want to keep their lawns from being destroyed.
The source material we looked at for this really sums it all up with this one line. Stop digging for answers and start locating solutions. And I think that perfectly captures the fundamental shift here. You're moving from reacting to a complete mystery to proactively solving a known problem.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it?
This is just a brilliant example of technology making an invisible problem visible and totally solvable. It really makes you wonder what other invisible problems in any industry are just one clever piece of tech away from being completely solved.